What the fuck is a reboot?
A reboot, boys, is when Hollywood wants to make a lot of money without the hassle of creating a new movie. So they take an old movie and change just enough to make you pay for the same shit all over again.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Frame for Frame, episode 3. I'm one of your co-hosts, Tom Garcia, aka Yumper, and I'm with my other co-host, the Cotton Man, Mr. Q's fan, Michael Cotton. How you doing, my man?
Hey, doing pretty good. Pretty good. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, and I'm going to be sitting behind a computer screen all day.
Well, it's the best way to spend a beautiful day outside. We are recording late, as we usually do it every 2 weeks, but Cotton had a trip down to Cincinnati where he was eating a bunch of Skyline chili and shitting his pants.
You know what? I will say I did go down. Yeah, I missed for Cincinnati. Went and saw the Cubs get their butts handed to them for no reason with at the Reds. And so I tried Camp Washington chili on Saturday, and that was actually really good. That's like a different brand of it, and they have of the Cincinnati chili, and it was really good. And then at the ball game, I had a cheese coney because that's kind of what you're supposed to do at Great American Ballpark. And I will say that Skyline chili was not good. It was sweet, like they put like sugar or I don't know what they do to it, but it was not good. And the hot dog was terrible. Like, people talk, you go to different ballparks and people talk about like, oh, you got to try this, got to try that. Poor Great American Ballpark. If that's the thing that you're supposed to have there, it's nasty. It was not good in any way. And I don't mind saying that. Stay away from the Skyline, go to Camp Washington.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people say it was bad. I know they had a Sox road trip up there, like with a bunch of people I know, and they said Skyline was really, really bad.
And they're the big name. That's all it is. It's just advertising. Like, they've just put out their name there.
I mean, people associate Chicago with Malort, and Malort's disgusting.
Malort's pretty good. We actually went to Binsky's Bar and did a podcast with the new Nasty Boys. It's a Reds podcast we're friends with down there, and at Binsky's Bar, it's a Chicago bar in Cincinnati, and they serve their Malort out of ashtrays. Like a glass ashtray, and they've got each corner has a spot for your cigarette, and that's what you pour it through. Amazingly, it's better. I don't know what's going on, how it's breathing or whatever, but when I took that first shot of Malort out of that ashtray, I asked the bartender, I'm like, this is Malort? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, do you have different Malort here in Cincinnati? And he's like, no, it's just better out of the ashtray.
Yeah. So I'm born and raised full-bred Chicagoan. One shot of Malort's enough for me. It's just nasty. I've seen people infuse Malort with cicadas.
Ooh.
And people are eating cicada infused Malort. I'm all good. So one shot, I'm cool. Like,
I actually don't mind it too much. Even Emily, my wife, is coming around on it a little bit.
No, my wife is like, no. But we got a good one for you, since we're doing, frame for frame. We're doing reboots and remakes. We decided to do a film since it's coming close to October. This actually would drop the day before, a couple days before October comes into effect. we're going to be doing a horror film, and we decided to go with one of the classics, the House on Haunted Hill series. First one by William Castle, and the second one by William Malone. So, you want to introduce this film, my friend?
Yeah, let's jump into it.
Cool. Let's go straight into Act 1.
If elected mayor, my first act will be to kill the whole lot of you and burn your turn to cinders. I know it's on.
So, for the 1959 film, House on Haunted Hill, it was directed by William Castle. Now, if you don't know who William Castle is, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of Dark Castle Productions, which they took their name from, as a homage to William Castle. He was a big proponent in a lot of scare theater. So we might know the Vincent Price, who actually stars in this film, as a person who had a lot of fun times with moviegoers, and Alfred Hitchcock, who were the big horror icons at the time. Castle took a lot of stuff from Hitchcock and tried to make it his own. He had a lot of stuff in his theaters that basically, made the theater become part of the movie, whether it be buzzers from the bottom of the seats. In this film, he particularly had a skeleton rise from a pool of supposedly acid, skeletons flying across, and they had to take that down because kids were shooting slingshots at it.
Yeah, that was super funny when I saw that, and I love that they called it. He always had like weird little names for it, but it was Emergo-Vision.
Yeah.
What? That's not Emergo-Vision. It's not technology. It's just a skeleton that flies through the theater.
Yeah, I just realized too. I messed up on the slide. I had Bad News Bears up there, but I had the correct director there. But yeah, William Castle. He is known for mostly horror films. He's done TV films as well, but some of the films he's done are 13 Ghosts, Homicidal, The Tingler, which I really, really encourage you to see that film, Cotton, because of the transition between color and black and white. There's a part in there. Straight Jacket and Shanks, which is his last film he directed.
Well, and also, wasn't The Tingler the movie where they put little electric shockers in the seats?
Buzzers. Yeah. Or they had like the little, it looks like a giant centipede. He would throw those around. And there's actually a part in the movie where he's like, the Tingler's in the theater. It's coming around. It's walking around. You hear people screaming like in the theater, "Oh, it's around me. It's coming. Oh, it crawled on my leg," and stuff like that.
Yeah, I will say William Castle was so innovative in the things that he was trying to do with his horror movies. Maybe not the greatest director, but the showmanship and the putting all this stuff in the theater to scare people. Like, I mean, they kind of do this stuff now with like the 4DX where you can sit in the seat and it moves around and does all this stuff. But he was doing this back in the 50s when literally the technology he had was just whatever, a skeleton on a pulley or little buzzers in the seats, like not a lot of high tech stuff, but he was doing his best with it. I think it would have been awesome to go to one of his films back then.
Yeah. How do you feel about the 4DX? I think that would just make me sick, to be honest with you.
I have not gone to a 4DX. I'm not sure. Is there one in Chicago? I'm assuming there is.
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're not everywhere. I think it would be fun to go see something that was action. I don't know.
It's
kind of
in
action
Regal
oriented.
City North.
Okay.
So 2600 Northwestern Avenue is a theater that has it.
Yeah. It really just depends on how they implement it, because if it throws you around too much, then it's not going to be fun because you kind of want to relax when you're watching your movie. But who knows if it's a nice smooth movement, and I don't know. It could be cool.
I like to just chill and eat my popcorn and watch the film. I don't need to fucking move. That's just me. I don't need to move around, but I mean,
I don't need it. It's not a way that I would. I definitely know that I would not go to every movie that I could that way, right? Mm-hmm. But I would go check it out. I think it might be a little bit of fun once or twice, but yeah, I couldn't see doing it all the time.
Yeah, but back to this film. So William Castle directed it. The cast is kind of filled with people that are not really well known, besides Vincent Price, who plays the role of Frederick Lauren. Vincent Price, I mean, when it comes to horror, his name is synonymous with horror. He's one of the best mysteries, one of the best actors, one of the best voices in terms of that era. To the point where he was still being, given roles in the '90s before he passed. Edward Scissorhands being one of them was one of his last roles as a maker of Edward Scissorhands. But I mean, you can't not think of Thriller without thinking of Vincent Price with his voiceover in it.
Oh yeah, I mean the Michael Jackson video where right in the middle of it you hear Vincent Price's voice come in and do the whole monologue. It's amazing.
And the crazy thing is, I read the other day that he was offered, I think, like 20 grand or royalties on the album, and he took the 20 grand.
Oh man.
So he kind of missed out on there. But he stars in the role of Frederick Lauren. Carol Omart stars in the role of Annabelle Lauren, his wife. Richard Long is in the role of Lance Schroeder. Alan Marshall plays Dr. Trent. Carolyn Craig is as Nora Manning. Elisha Cook Jr. is Watson Pritchard. And I really found this hilarious because if you look at the IMDb, they have a thing called Skeleton as Skeleton.
Yes, and at the end of the movie, if you watch through the credits, the last star of the movie is Skeleton as himself.
And it's a real human life skeleton too. Like they got it from a medical center because it was cheaper to buy one than to make one.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
it's creepy, but
you know what? I feel like wasn't that the story for Poltergeist as well?
Yeah,
the reason they had actual human skeletons was it's cheaper to get.
And I think in the river part where they like underwater.
Yeah, in the swimming pool that they're building and then the skeletons come out of it. It's freaky. Poltergeist, by the way, also has a remake, which I have not seen, but
I've seen it. We may get to that one day. Also, I didn't include on the picture here, but Julia Mitchum plays Ruth Bridges. She's one of the main people in the film, but not really a lot of scenes with her. Just she's really a big alcoholic in the film. But basically, the premise of the film is Vincent Price's character of Frederick Lauren has a party for his wife's birthday at a supposedly haunted house where caretaker William Pritchard runs. And he invites all people in need of money in some way for various reasons. Where Lance Schroeder needs it he's struggling financially. The character of Nora, she needs it because she supports her whole family. Or Dr. Trent, he says that, the whole psychological thing with ghosts will aid to his research, as well as Watson Pritchard's the only one that I don't think makes sense in terms of why he needs the money, but he does come. And you have, his wife being there, and basically to piss her off, he just shredded her list and made his own for the people that are coming. So it's basically a millionaire kind of flaunting his money here. With that, though, the box office and ratings for the film, it had a budget of $200K and made about $2.5 million, according to some sources, in terms of box office revenue, which is really, really big at that time for a horror film. As far as ratings, it had 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb. In terms of certified fresh, it's 80% on Rotten Tomatoes by critics. And for those who love the Letterboxd, 3.4 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd. Cotton. No, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm a little surprised by some of those ratings personally, but the budget of $200,000 and then making $2.5 million is quite amazing. And I think, didn't they say that's what actually like really sparked Hitchcock to do a horror movie with Psycho?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Psycho came out in what, 60 or something? But yeah,
I believe
got very excited about the fact that this movie was able to make so much money.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because Castle came before Hitchcock, but when Hitchcock became, Hitchcock with Psycho and then his other films, The Weird Window, Castle drew from his silhouette. Like Hitchcock will come out with his silhouette. Castle did that kind of himself. So he borrowed stuff from people that came after him, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were better at what they were doing. So he was trying to connect himself with that as much as possible.
Yeah, that is true. That is a true statement. But you want to get into the 1999 version?
Yeah, let's do it. So, 40 years later, as Yumper said earlier, the Dark Castle started to redo some of these movies. They actually did this House on Haunted Hill in 99. They did 13 Ghosts, which was another William Castle movie in 2001. And this movie, so I'll start with the cast here. They had Jeffrey Rush. Oh, wait. Oh, you had the director first, didn't you? I'm sorry.
It's all good.
We'll do the director here. William Malone, he did Fear.com, Parasomnia, Creature, and Scared to Death were just a few of his other movies. So, kind of a horror director. I think it showed, the jump scare aspect of this movie, I think, worked pretty well. And I really thought the director did a pretty good job in that sort of cheesy horror genre that we had in the late 90s with some of these movies. But then the cast, you had Jeffrey Rush as Stephen Price, which was a nod to Vincent Price. Obviously, Vincent Price's character, last name was Lauren, but then was Stephen Price. And then Famke Janssen was Evelyn, his wife. Chris Kattan played the Pritchett part. And I like to think of him as Exposition Eddie, but it kind of doesn't work very well because Taye Diggs actually is called Eddie. And so I started getting a little confused when I was talking to my wife about the movie. And then Peter Gallagher, Dr. Blackburn, Ali Larder as Sarah. And Sarah was kind of in the Nora role for this movie, if you're trying to see the connections here. Bridget Wilson, now Bridget Wilson Sampras, was Melissa Marr, and she was like a video vlogger back then.
Yeah, TV show.
Yeah, and so she was kind of taking that the journalist, who was it, Julie Mitchum's kind of part. And then you had Jeffrey Combs was Dr. Vanica, which he had no part in the original movie. And then Max Perlich, he was Schechter. He was the behind-the-scenes kind of help for Jeffrey Rush's character. And
Jeffrey Combs of Reanimator fame for the horror fans out there.
Yeah, and then I did want to show this one thing. So when I turned this movie on, I literally, right away, I thought, oh, I didn't know James Woods was in this movie. Because Jeffrey Rush actually, the plan wasn't to call this guy Stephen Price. He wasn't supposed to look like Vincent Price. He was doing a sort of callback to somebody else, and then he just ended up looking like Vincent Price. And
he
the
wanted to
director
look like John Waters. Yeah, he wanted to look like John Waters, which is a director.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, and he does have the mustache like him, but he looks so much like Stephen Price. They loved the fact that he did.
Yeah, so so they went with the old, even though it was, like you said, it was supposed to be a John Waters reference, it ended up being a Vincent Price reference. But honestly, it totally looked like James Woods to me at first. And so I looked up this whole connection with Jeffrey Rush and James Woods just to see if anybody else thought so. And I found this on Reddit, which I just thought was hilarious. I want to share here. Oh, it's not popping up in that. It's way over in the corner. Can you read that? Sorry. Sorry, people. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties because we do things differently on the Bleacher Bunch than Sadistic Penguins. And
you put it as a logo. That's why. It's okay. Yeah, you put it as a logo.
Oh, I thought it was an overlay. My bad. Okay. Okay. Anyway, I'll just tell you, like, so somebody was asking about whether anybody thought Jeffrey Rush looked like James Woods, and somebody posted in there about how Jeffrey Rush was actually James Woods' son, and that, and that he was, and James Woods was way too progressive, and Jeffrey Rush didn't like it, and so that's why he changed his name. It was this wild, and then people started to like, are you serious? Is this real? He's like, no, it's not real at all. They're not related. And I just thought it was really funny that other people out there were just looking at this guy, and I assume in this movie, thinking that was James Woods at first, which I don't think you want to be associated with James Woods if you can help it.
Piece of candy. If
What's
you ever
that?
watched, you never seen Family Guy? Ooh, piece of candy.
Oh, right. Yes. But so the budget of this movie was $37 million. It made $42 million, so made a little bit of money. It always makes you wonder, though, when you've got a budget of 37 and it makes 5. How much did they put into like the advertising? And
Yeah,
stuff? Did they make?
I'm sure they
anything
broke
on it?
even.
Yeah. 5.6 out of 10 on IMDb, 31% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 2.7 stars on Letterboxd. Now, I don't use Letterboxd. Is that out of 5?
Yes.
I'm assuming yes. Okay, so that makes sense.
So I couldn't find any. We usually go by like the Ebert or Siskel star rating if they have it. Of course, Ebert didn't have one for the original. I mean, that was in 1959, and he didn't review the new version, which to me tells me sometimes they give movies for the critics to review, and sometimes they don't want them to review them. So I'm guessing that's why you didn't get a review for that.
Yeah.
So I just went to Letterboxd to see what the fans thought.
Yeah. Okay. So this movie, the breakdown, the synopsis of this movie is Stephen Price is basically, he's like the Walt Disney of horror. He does horror movies. He does amusement parks with scary rides. And he's just this big, huge name. Evelyn, his wife, she is watching TV. It's a like a unsolved mystery show, and they show this haunted asylum, and she decides she wants to have her birthday party there. So she calls him. He's in, because, you know, she's into, you know, the scary stuff too. He's into it. So he rents it for her birthday. She has a list of people that she wants to come to this party, and somehow you see the computer changes the list and puts a bunch of different people. So once they get to the party, it's a bunch of strangers. And then he's offering $1 million to each one if they can make it through the night. And if they do make it through, and anybody who's left will get, if there's one person left, they'll get the entire $5 million. So it's kind of a game in that way. His wife is upset about this because these are not her friends. It's her birthday party. And eventually they just get into like the asylum is haunted and the ghosts are picking off these people one by one. That's sort of the synopsis of this movie. It was a bit different than the original. So
Definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, so we're probably I don't know. I think we're about ready for Act 2. Let's start talking about these things.
Let's start off with the act.
And now for my next number, I'd like to return to the classics.
So for the 1959 version, we open with a monologue from the character of Pritchard, Elijah Cook, and he's talking about how this house is haunted. He basically his brother and sister-in-law were killed. They were hacked. He stood there one night and almost died. And then we have another monologue from Vincent Price. I always thought it was kind of funny how they're kind of like translucent, just their heads talking to the audience. And he introduces each character.
It really was weird when you're watching it that they would bring in just a floating head in front of the screen or whatever, just the house talking about what's going on. A lot of exposition.
Yeah, it's it just makes me laugh. The way Pritchard to me, he was really kind of funny looking. The way he looks at the camera, his acting was really really overacting, in my opinion.
A lot of overacting in this movie.
One thing I will say I liked about the 1959 film is it had a runtime of an hour and 15 minutes, so it was a quick one to watch. A lot of scares in the film are not really scary or more comical due to, I believe, a low budget. And if you want to consider a 200K film low budget, I guess you can. But just even the part where the caretaker scares her in that room and then it wheels away, or
the caretaker. I have this in here. Leona Anderson. Her name in the movie is Mrs. Slides, because I didn't even know if that was an actual human. I thought it might just be a mannequin, and they pull her along so that she doesn't actually walk. She just slides through the scenes.
Yeah, it's rather ridiculous. Some of the practical effects, they're very, very limited. And I mean, this is of course in the 50s, so they're not going to be memorable. But I mean, you could make stuff look good. I mean, we've had stop motion stuff that looked great. But I think it kind of adds to the flavor and like nostalgia of the time, which to me, it made it more enjoyable because this was like a film that was back then that was supposed to be, scary with the twist ending, and people were like drawn to it, and it made a lot of money and popped a lot of people to go see it. The characters I think in here are really really bland, and I think actually in both films they kind of are, but in this one I think they're a little bit more, although Price does give a background on why each of them are there. The one thing I still can't understand, even thinking about it for the past couple days, is why was Pritchard there if he almost died?
Yeah, well, we know why he was there. Money. So the whole monologue when he's introducing each character, I was laughing because he would give sort of the biography of these characters, and they're like, and he's showing up because he needs money, and then like talks about the woman. She needs money. Like, I was just watching this movie. I'm like, what is he like? What is this
She's very
idea
pretty.
that's happening? I really thought the movie was going to be sort of a call out for greedy people and money and all this stuff. But basically, that's the only time we really hear about the motivations of any of these characters outside of Vincent Price's Lauren and his wife, Annabelle. Like, that's it.
Yeah, and it's kind of the thing is kind of glossed over too. It's just mentioned in one conversation. The whole issues between Vincent Price and his wife. He says that she tried to poison him with arsenic, and it was misproven. Which I think is pretty funny when he does the whole champagne bottle with like a gun as he's pointing it at her. But it's like glossed over, where in the second film it's more predominantly a plot point of it. It had some gore in this film. I mean, you have the heads, I guess, that are in there. Some things that didn't make sense to me though, Cotton. I want to know your opinion on this. So when Pritchard's showing them the house, and he's like, "Oh," they go down to the basement, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this pool of acid." I'm like, "Why the fuck is there still a pool of acid in this house? Like, don't you think you'd get rid of it? Like, why is it just sitting there?"
Right. Yeah. The other thing about this movie is it's called House on Haunted Hill. Vincent Price claims that it's haunted. There is no haunting in this movie. There are no ghosts. There are no like creepy things. It is the entire movie is Vincent Price wants to kill his wife. And he's sort of using this party as like a cover for it or something. Like, I don't know. That's what it felt like to me. The whole plot, once we get past what they tell you it's going to be about, the actual rest of the movie is just about him wanting to kill his wife and his wife trying to get somebody to kill him.
Yeah, and one thing that I thought was weird was, for one, they never mentioned what Price does, what Lauren does.
Yeah, he's just rich.
Yeah, he's just rich, which I think kind of can talk about the bad writing of this film. Although it's considered a cult classic, like they never mention what he does. They never mention like how they faked certain things. Now when Trent and her are talking about how she faked the window scene of her being hung, how the hell did they get the rope to go around Nora's legs to make it look like it's gonna take her with her? I mean, that part didn't make any sense. And then, the fact that she goes outside to see her hanging again, and she does say, "Oh, I have a hanging harness," but how did Lauren not know she was dead when he could see her, if he could hear her breathing, or
right?
It's just stuff like that. Also, I thought it was kind of creepy that Pritchard was in the room when he went in there, and he's like, he starts choking him. Like, what are you doing in here? Which cracked me up. Like, we just started choking the shit out of him.
Yeah. This movie has many flaws. But I think it's a sort of a cult classic because at the time in 1959, I think it was very edgy, and people at the time, because if people don't quite understand, I mean, we're still sort of in the early stages of movies, so they don't understand how these plot twists come around yet. So the fact that you find out that Vincent Price actually wants to kill his wife and that she knows that and is trying to, I don't know, turn the tables on him and get somebody to kill Vincent Price, like that would be a great sort of plot point. It's just not pulled off very well. And nowadays we know how that might have been pulled off better, and it's hard for the current viewer to look at it as anything more than kind of bad writing, I think.
Yeah, and the thing is, you really don't know who the real villain is in this film. Like, Vincent Price's character has a shady history. He's had 4 wives. I think this girl, Annabelle's his 4th wife, and 3 of them have died really young, which could mean that he's probably killed them, but they died of heart attacks, she tells Dr. Trent and other people. And his wife, of course, wants him to be killed with the bullets that, he gives fake party favors of a gun, which makes no sense. Even Pritchard's like, this is not going to do anything against ghosts, which I thought was hilarious, but
which was fine because there are no ghosts.
Yeah. And the only person that actually sees things is Nora, which I guess was intended by both of them. Just the whole, like, the lazy writing, or like the not being able to bring everything together is what I think kind of hurts it in the more modern critical look of it. But in terms of what I liked about it is just that it's campy. It's got one of the greatest horror actors of all time in it, and it's so cheesy that it's great. Sometimes there's films like that are good.
And I will say, Vincent Price actually, he's kind of the only one that actually does a good job of acting in the movie. Like, if you're just looking at the acting, Vincent Price, he brought it. He did everything he needed to do for his character, but the other people in the movie were not really up to it. They weren't able to pull it off the way that he was. Another reason I think this was like a big deal too, and maybe a cult classic, the very beginning of the movie. So if you go into the theater and you're sitting there, it starts with a black screen. Nothing. and it starts to play these haunting sounds, which we all know now as haunted house sounds and stuff. Back then, that had never been done. So Castle actually created that for this movie, and the reason that we have creaking doors and rattling chains and all those sounds is because of this movie. So when people went in and they sat down in this dark theater, and that's all the stuff they heard, and then a scream, I think, like it freaked people out.
Yeah. Another thing that kind of threw me off is the caretakers. What was their role?
They had no role. I mean, the man caretaker just showed up like one time, maybe.
Yeah, twice when they introduced them, and then when he grabbed her and told her that if you don't leave, he's going to kill you.
Yeah. He says, "Come with me," after he just scares the living crap out of her. It's like, I'm not going anywhere with you. You just snuck up on me. And then the woman is the slides, and she just keeps popping up as this creepy old lady. And she's standing there like this. That's the same woman, right?
Yeah. She's
Yeah,
blind.
so she's standing there like this. And for the podcast, I've got my hands up in like claws, and then she slides through the scene. They don't explain where she came from. They don't explain where she goes. Nora is the only one that kind of sees her. And so then they start to play the whole gaslighting thing where, they don't believe the woman.
Yeah. And, it's just it's kind of hard for you to follow along in terms of story or what to piece together because of, I guess maybe the short runtime kind of had an effect on it. They had to get so much in to one little spot. It also ends with a cliffhanger. Like, you don't know what happens to Vincent Price, his character. He says he's ready to face justice.
Right. And you said earlier you don't know who the villain is. And I think it's Vincent Price because, like, as you were saying, he already had like 3 or 4 wives and they'd all died mysteriously. And this one had now died mysteriously. And he was like, I'm willing to seek justice. He's going to go turn himself in because he knows he's going to get away with it again. So I think ultimately he's the bad guy, and his wife is nominally better because she knew she was going to get killed. And so she was just trying to, I don't know, kill him before he could kill her,
I guess, and take his money with Trent, who's an annoying character.
Right.
But not nowhere near as annoying in the updated one. But
yeah, so well, and that's a failure of the movie is like, if she's really trying, if you want her to be the sympathetic figure against, Vincent Price's Frederick, then don't give her don't make her an adulteress, cheating on her husband and trying to steal this money. Like, that's not going to give you any credibility for your character that you're going to want to see her succeed, really.
yeah. Also, when the chandelier scene, I watched this on Prime, rewatched it. Did you watch it on Prime by any chance or no?
No, I watched it for free on Tubi. I actually watched both of these movies on Tubi. They're out there right now, which I think I texted you. There's like 5 versions of the 1959.
Yeah. So the reason that is the one on Prime, for instance, when the chandelier falls, it's really blurry shot. Like, it's a blurry shot. And the reason that is because this movie fell into public domain.
Yeah.
They couldn't keep the trademark for it and rights, and it fell into the public domain. So basically, anybody could re-rip this and sell it for, as a DVD. So there's a bunch of copies out there that are really, really low quality. The scenes don't transition correctly. I just thought it was weird when I saw the chandelier fall in my film I was watching on Prime, and it looked like it was blurry. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, is this something that was left in from the 50s that looked bad?
Yeah.
But when I did the research, I was like, oh, okay, I remember now.
Now, did you watch the black and white version or the colorized version? Because that's why that's another reason there's so many different versions on Tubi, is that there's the color. You can watch it in color or you can watch it in black and white.
I watched it black and white, and I actually watched
so
this
I.
first before the remake again.
Yeah, I had watched the remake. Based on the last show, where you watched the remake first, and then I thought, since I'm sort of looking at the remake, I would do that, and it was interesting to do it that way. It really was. But no, I watched it in black and white because I wanted to see it as it was originally, constructed.
So did I.
And, and when I found out about the copyright thing, like I kind of thought maybe the black and white one would be more complete. And it was. I didn't see anything in my version that caused me to think it was an oddly ripped version, which, by the way, is interesting because you saw it on Prime, which pays for their stuff, and I saw it on Tubi. And to be fair, Tubi obviously takes like actual VHS videos sometimes for their movies. It's amazing.
So you actually see the person put the VHS in the thing for you?
It seems like. I mean, I think I threw a trauma in there, and it like you almost get a little like scratchy VHS thing at the top, and then it starts, and you're like, "Holy crap! Somebody ripped this."
Like our end credits.
Yeah.
That's great. But I think we pretty much said as much as we could about the 59 version. How about you start talking to us about this 99 version?
Right. So I watched this. Like I said, I watched this one first, and immediately, let me just say, I had seen this when we were first talking about doing this movie. I thought I was actually remembering 13 Ghosts, which is funny because they're very similar movies in like the plot points and what they're supposed to be doing. But then when I started watching it, I'm like, oh, wait, this is that other movie. And I had seen it. It's just, I had totally forgotten about it. And I honestly, like, from the jump, I was enjoying myself with this movie. Like, it is cheesy, bad horror in all the best ways. Like, whatever they're doing with this, like, you could totally watch this and just tear it apart. But just for pure kind of fun, like, and what they're like, if you go in expecting them to be, really making you scared when you leave this movie, it won't work. But when you go in and you see this, and I was just like, oh yeah, I remember when they were doing these movies in the late 90s. This is amazing. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. It is not an overall good movie, but it was very enjoyable to watch. And I honestly, it made me give Return to the House on Haunted Hill a chance because I enjoyed the 99. And in 2007, they did a return, and that movie was terrible. I only made it about 20 minutes and had to turn it off. But this movie was a bit different in the setup, whereas the original started with people being invited to this party at a haunted house. Like I mentioned earlier in the synopsis, they were going to an insane asylum. And it kind of seemed as if maybe that Dr. Vanica had lived there, but it was more of an insane asylum than it was a haunted house. Did that strike you as anything there, Yump, when you saw the difference there?
To be honest with you, I think the 99 version actually had a more full fleshed out story in terms of why it is what it is. Which I thought was kind of cool. And then the fact that they showed her watching it on like an unsolved mysteries kind of show to pique her interest into it kind of made it like it closed a lot of gaps that the previous film didn't fill.
Yeah, it definitely did. And by introducing these characters, Evelyn and Stephen, before they're actually at the house, definitely made that, like, I think they watched the original and they're like, these are the things we need to add to this movie so that people understand why people are here, you know? And then they were also able to add in that supernatural element or possibly just a computer hacker when all the names get changed on the computer. Right?
Yeah, and they actually explained that how the house has a lot of energy and go through phone lines and whatnot, which is kind of like okay, but I mean, it gives an explanation. I can't fault a film trying to give an explanation for stuff that happens.
Right.
Even if it's crazy, it's still at least it's trying, and I did enjoy that part. I actually watched the original this time instead of the remake because I actually saw this film in theater when it first came out. A 14-year-old me went to go see this at Ford City, which is now a desert land in Chicago. But I saw this film because I was looking forward to seeing a horror film, and this one came out. And it, for one, the things that stuck with me was that the ride that Stephen Price is showing here, is actually the Incredible Hulk in Orlando, Florida, at Disney at Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Which I've gone on, which is awesome. And you know, they have a good backstory in it. The characters in here, I think, are more predominantly fleshed out. Although the character of Blackburn, played by I forget the guy from the OC. He's also in
Peter Gallagher.
Peter Gallagher. Thank you. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he was very, very annoying.
Peter
You had your fun,
Gallagher
but
is
it-
kind of annoying in almost everything he's in, I think. Like,
He's a
It-
real
it-
estate king.
it's so weird. Peter Gallagher is like, when you look at him, he is as if somebody drew what a movie star should look like. And he just, like, his looks are kind of just perfect leading man looks, but his acting has never matched what his look is. He just doesn't come across right for me.
So when I think of him, I think of a boring Billy Bob Thornton. Because they look
Kinda.
the same to me. They kind of look the same to me. That's just, they have a lot of resemblance. That's just my opinion.
I would say Gallagher is much prettier, and that Billy Bob Thornton is a much better actor. It's kind of the flip side, but I don't know. Anyway, what you were saying though about that first part where they're at the amusement park and the jump scares that they're doing with the scaring the people who are going on the ride, that is pretty effective and like interesting. And obviously the Hulk ride doesn't have a fake car in front of you fly off the tracks.
No.
But when you're watching that, you're just like, oh my God, if this was real, it would be super scary. If you were on the thing and you see the
Yeah, but I
car in
always
front of
wondered,
you go
like,
off.
even watching it then, okay, it's fake. So are they just destroying cars every time? Like,
I
how do
wondered
they,
about that too.
like, how do they, recoup that loss? That's a lot of money. Just like the elevator thing. So does the elevator thing happen for everybody, or is it just like a select few gets to go in it?
For a minute there, I almost thought the elevator was the ride, and that the other part, the actual roller coaster, was kind of just a MacGuffin to get you on the elevator, and then the elevator scares the crap out of you, and then you're done with the ride. That's kind of what I thought, but no. And for anybody who hasn't seen this, they get in this elevator to go up to the top to get on the roller coaster, and as they're going up, it seems as if the elevator breaks and starts crashing down to the bottom, and everybody freaks out, and then it just stops and the door opens and they're at the entrance to the roller
ride.
coaster.
Yeah.
That would be scary. I have to say. But yeah, so, and that was all just to sort of set up who this guy was and that he's really into the horror. And then everybody gets their invitations and they all go because it is an invitation to make $1 million, and they all do need the money in different ways. But that's, I mean, everybody kind of needs $1 million. They didn't make a big deal out of it like they did in the 1959 movie. There was no like greed, money. Like I I just laugh every time I think about that scene and him saying money every time he looked at these people, like why they were bad. But everybody shows up. Chris Kattan, he shows up. He is the Pritchard of this movie. What's the guy's name? Elijah Cook.
Yes.
Kattan is much better than Pritchard in this version of the movie, in my opinion. What do you think?
So I think Jeffrey Rush is awesome in this film. But I think Chris Kattan just still made this film so enjoyable for me because, for one, the Pritchard in the first film seemed like he was out of it a lot, which I guess that's what he's going for. But this one, for one, they explained why he didn't want to be there when the place closes down on them. He's going
he's
nuts.
Trying to leave.
Yeah, he's trying. But the part just that whole scene when he's like, "God damn you, give me my check. You have it, and I want it. Now give it."
Yeah,
that part cracked me up. The part where he's sitting there and Taye Diggs slaps the glass out of his hand, and he's like, "That wasn't very nice." And they're like, "We got no phone service." And he's like, "And we're all out of scotch because of you, ass." Like, his one-liners were awesome as an eccentric character. I thought he stole the whole show of the movie, and he was very, very enjoyable over the previous Pritchard, which I thought made this film enjoyable.
Yeah. It sounds like you really like the Chris Kattan. I wasn't that high on him, only because, like I said, he was exposition Eddie. Most of 90% of his lines are just explaining about the house and about how it's going to, what the ghosts are going to do and what's going to happen and all this stuff. And I will say he was correct, which was good, because in the 1959, that Pritchard kept saying, "Oh, the ghosts and the people were killed and all this." None of it came true. Nothing he was worried about actually came to pass in any way. So the Pritchard then was just a scared, superstitious guy. The Pritchard in the 99 movie actually knew what he was talking about, and these things happened. But I did think it was funny. I think Chris Kattan did a good job of delivering the lines and stuff, but the lines themselves were just kind of like, let me explain this whole movie to you.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of the role of Pritchard. I was just mostly going for his comedic stuff of what he was saying.
And I agree. It was Chris Kattan was very good in that. It's just the writing was such that he was almost every time they went to him, he just had to tell you something about the house and the ghosts and what was going to happen, and that was just kind of funny. But then all the other characters were sort of introduced as they were talking to each other, but nobody knew who they were. In the 59, they were the people that Vincent Price's character invited. In the 99, the Stephen Price, the Jeffrey Rush character, he had no idea who these people were either. And yet they were just like, "Oh, let's just keep going. We'll just keep it going." And so nobody knew why they were there, including the people who were having the party, which I just thought was, it's a little I get why that people would show up to try and win $1 million, but I don't know why the hosts kept them
in
around.
99 version. I think it was I think Price kind of hinted that he thinks Evelyn got to his list somehow, even though she's denying it, which could have been why they're all there, but I don't know.
Well, but she's angry at him because she thinks that he didn't invite any of her guests. And he's like, "These are your guests. They were on the list. That's the list that I had." And so he thinks she's lying to him. And they hate each other. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, and that's where this movie connects with the 59 movie, is that plot line where the husband and wife are trying to kill each other. Right? So that's sort of the way of it. Stephen Price, I think, is more directly, or maybe he's not necessarily going to kill her, but she's trying to get other people at the party to get so scared that they'll shoot Stephen Price, which actually happens in this movie.
Yeah, I think that's the plot line carried over from the 59 version because Annabelle and Trent were trying to do that. But the difference I think I see here is Stephen Price is actually not made out to be a bad character in this film because he basically, like, there's more backstory to his wife, Evelyn.
Yeah.
He tells her, you know, she basically was an adulteress and sleeping with everybody in their area code, spending his money like it was nothing, like water. And he eventually comes out and says he knew that she was going to try to kill him with Blackburn. Everything they had was taped and bugged, so he kind of knew of the plot that was going to happen. And he, to the point where he's like, "I'm Stephen fucking Price."
Well, and that's the other thing. So yeah, this movie, it's more clearly she's the villain, right? And that she's an adulteress cheating on him, and she's trying to take his money because if he gets she's got a prenup, but if he gets killed, then she gets all of his money. So but she doesn't want to do it herself, so she's trying to get these other people to do it. Now, this is where this plot completely falls apart. She was going to have her friends at this party, and they didn't show up because the list is completely different. She doesn't know any of these people. So if that was her plan, then when did she make that plan? Because it would have gone out the window when she got all these new people. Or the plan showed up when she realized there's all these new people. Let's get them to try and kill Stephen Price. But then they would have had to plant the guns that didn't have blanks and had like real bullets and all of this stuff. Like, so I was having this conversation with Emily last night talking about these two movies. They could be great movies if they're just people are at this place and they're trying to scare them. And if they make it, then they win money. This whole plot line where the spouses are trying to kill each other, that's kind of what ruins the whole movie. If you take that plot out of there, you're fine. But it just didn't make any sense how she thought she was going to make this happen if the guests that she thought were going to be there had actually showed up.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I noticed too in terms of the guest list. Like they show him actually shredding her guest list, and it's 2 pages.
Yeah.
And then he starts to write his own guest list. And even if it got hacked into where, like it says the house hacked in, where they kind of mention these other characters coming in, the fact that there was a coffin with just enough guns for the people there, like, don't you think there would be more coffins?
Number.
Yeah, don't you think there'd be more, guns for people coming? Like,
well, and so if all the people, it is revealed later that all of these people who were invited were actually relatives of the insane asylum's staff when all the prisoners or all the insane people broke out and killed everyone, right? So the only one that's not a part of that is Dr. Blackburn, right? Mm-hmm. He's only there because he's the guy she's cheating on her husband with. And he was going to help her with this plan. But how did he get there if he was not invited? I guess he could have just showed up, but still, there was enough guns for everyone.
Yeah, and Eddie kind of mentions that, like, where's he at? Why is he there? And that kind of shows the, I guess, subplot of them trying to kill him. Stephen Price. One thing I did like about the 99 version is I talked about how the 59 version had a lot of campy imagery, and the effects were very, very limited. This one, the effects were actually better, except the whole last Black Death thing, or whatever the hell this is, which is found out was just images of naked women in mirrors that they just spliced together for this.
Yeah. So that and that's a practical effect that kind of doesn't really work. But they were doing this stuff back in. I remember them doing it in the late '70s on the Muppet Show, of all things, where they could superimpose these things using mirrors to show up on the camera in with the characters when you're there. It was an attempt. Nowadays they would just use CGI. I'm surprised because they had CGI then. I'm surprised they didn't try to do it CGI, but I think the director wanted to try and keep it more practical. And this, even though it looks super weird, is basically a practical effect.
Yeah, and this looked weird to me, but the overall visuals of the so-called monsters, like this screaming thing, or the Dr. Vonnegut head swimming, the nurse and Dr. Vonnegut, with him swishing his head, that was kind of cool. The dream state stuff was a little bit ridiculous, but the whole point of it was to turn a sane man insane, which I know you want to talk about. This is the whole little object he was in, if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, so that was the other thing that was so ridiculous. The idea was that this psychiatrist who was trying to cure people would put them in this machine, and it would make a crazy man sane, but it would also make a sane man crazy. And so they put him in this thing, and the doctor turns it on. But here's the thing. All it was a children's toy, like a zoetrope, and this is what it is. That's it. Like all that, there's windows, and when it spins, it makes it. That's what movies were before they could do movies. They would put these little things in, and you would see a horse run or like a ballerina dance like that. Like that's all that was. And somehow that was going to make this man go insane and die because this is Peter Gallagher's character. Dr. Blackburn was trying to kill him in that moment. Like it didn't really.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. I think he's just doing it to be a dick.
Yeah.
And the part where that's another part too. His character, I have the scene up here where his head cut off. The fact she killed him made no sense. Like she became she went from like a 0 to a 10 in terms of ruthlessness. Evelyn did,
right.
And that's why I think the character of Stephen Price is not really a bad person, because even when he shows that he knew what they were doing, and he throws her to the wall, he still doesn't want her to get hurt, because he tells her to get up and get out of there before the black fake thing grabs her and kills her.
Yeah, I think Stephen Price is like an asshole in real life. Like he was just not he probably wasn't a great husband, maybe an abuser or whatever. But in this movie, from everything that we see, he's not trying to kill her or what, he's, and eventually when she starts to get taken by that black mass of spirits, he tries to help her.
Yeah, he even sacrifices himself for Sarah.
Yeah, so he's not necessarily he turns out to be not so bad a guy. I think in general, like you wouldn't want to hang out with him. But for this movie, like he ends up, having a bit of I don't think he was ever the villain. I think they wanted you to think he was the villain, and then it turns out to be Evelyn, and that's sort of the twist. But yeah, he turns out to not be the villain of this movie.
It's just crazy that the gore in this film they show, like the beginning when his guy gets his face ripped off, the head is chopped off. The beginning of the film where the pencils go through the neck of who I think actually was the producer of the film, that guy who got the pencils through his neck. And
Yeah, they really went all in on the gore, and I think that's why, like, immediately I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember this stuff. This is going to be like a fun sort of movie." They were trying constantly with the jump scares. It was not an actual like creepy movie. It was more of a jump scare sort of campy movie in that way. But yeah, they start with that whole insane asylum breaking out and going after the doctor who's doing experiments on these people. And then, of course, the gratuitous nudity, the gratuitous violence, like they were really leaning into it.
yeah, and that's like the nudity part where they throw him into a tank and that girl's in there with the blood coming out of her mouth. Like some of the parts I didn't understand. Was it just supposed to be make him crazy, or?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's wild. A lot of this stuff just it really doesn't sort of make sense. But I will say, like, it was better put together. They looked at the '59 movie and the issues with it, and they put these things together a little bit better. So in that '59 movie, the character of Nora is, for a lot of the movie, seems to be the main character.
Mm-hmm.
First off, she is a terrible actress. Her screams that she does and the things that how she plays everything it was grating on my brain to watch her and what she was doing. It was really bad. And that was the woman that the wife of that movie, Annabelle, was trying to drive. She was trying to scare her by putting a head in her suitcase and having the crazy old lady keep popping out. She was trying to get her so scared that when Vincent Price's character went in to check on her, she would shoot Vincent Price. That was that plot point sort of plan. In the '99 movie, they were trying to do sort of the same thing.
With Ali Larter.
Yeah, and Ali Larter, the Sarah character, was the one that they were trying to push over the edge to kill Stephen Price, which she actually does until we find out that she didn't because it was all fake, and Stephen Price was 2 steps ahead. But what's interesting about those two characters, so the Sarah character is the Nora character from the '59. When they're going through the list of all the people and how they were descended from those, the staff of the psychiatry place, Sarah was not part of those people because she had stolen the invite that was going to her boss and went herself. So her boss was the person who was invited, but Sarah stole the invite and went to the party because she wanted to win that $1 million. Yeah. So that was a little bit of an interesting twist in there. In the original, Nora was supposed to be there. In the remake, Ali Larter's character, Sarah, was not supposed to be there. It was supposed to be somebody completely different.
Yeah, and Eddie Baker, who was Taye Diggs' character, was adopted. So
yeah.
So he had no real lineage. With the whole plot is that the house wants to get these sadist staff that escaped the burning of 31 that killed all the inmates in there with Vonnegut. Those 5 sadist staff that escape are supposed to be related to the characters that are invited back to the house.
Right. And in this movie, there are actual ghosts. It is actual hauntings of things going around. Weird things are happening constantly. The house locks down, and they're walking around. One thing I thought was hilarious, how the two movies sort of were the same. In the 1959 movie, every scene takes place in the lobby area or the main room area. And then they go up to the hallway. They go upstairs to the hallway where all the rooms are. And then they're in the rooms. In the 99 version, they keep going downstairs, but it's clearly the same hallway, like over and over again, maybe shot from different angles or whatever, but they keep going down and they keep going into the same rooms. Like it's so funny. Just as you go through the movie, you're like 10 minutes later and they're in the same hallway walking through. And then they said something about the basement being
a maze.
A maze. And it is. They keep getting lost. They keep getting split up and lost. But every time they need them back upstairs in the main room, they immediately all find their way back to the main room.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Also, what I didn't like as far as the Blackburn character was he goes to look for Miss Marr, which is Bridget Wilson's character, right. And he's walking downstairs like looking for her, and I'm like, why the fuck didn't the house just kill him anyway when he's down there? Yeah. Maybe because he wasn't part of the thing, but I mean,
right? He didn't get killed by the house because he wasn't one of the people who was supposed to be there from the lineage or whatever.
Yeah, but how did the house know? Because it obviously didn't know about Sarah. And that's another thing too about Sarah. She keeps saying, "Oh, it's Sarah," when she's trying to talk to the character Miss Marr. She's like, "Oh, it's Sarah." I'm like, you didn't tell this person your name. Like, you told her you were the Jensen chick. Like, how the fuck does she know who Sarah is? Like, she's like, "Oh, it's Sarah," and I'm like, how does she know your name? Like, you don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes. Oh, and the other thing, at the end, when the scary apparition is, showed up and trying to kill people and destroying things, that character, Melissa Mark, like reaches out and she's trying to like entice Sarah to come with her.
Yeah.
But why would Sarah do that? They were not friends.
No,
they
and
did
she
not
called
know
her
each
trailer
other.
trash. Yeah, she called her trailer trash because she was talking about how she had to either bang somebody or like hook up with somebody to get back into show business. It was just plot holes right there, And don't get me wrong, this is not a Oscar-winning film, but it just some of this stuff was like, what?
Yeah. Oh, and then at the end, like you said, Eddie, Taye Diggs' character, the only black character in the movie that we see, and they make him live, so that's a little bit of a switch on the horror trope, even though they made it seem like he was going to be the first one to die. But yeah, so he lives, and at the end of this movie, just out of the blue, a ghost shows up, and it is apparently his ancestor that he's not blood related to because he's been adopted, but it's like the one black ghost is like, dude, these crackers crazy, and he opens the door. He's like, you can leave, man. Like, I was like, where did this come from?
So actually, it was supposed to be Pritchard that opened the door. That's who it is. So it's actually Chris Kattan's character that opens the door. Because I paused it to look at it, and it's actually him. Because the CGI is really bad. It's actually him. But I like your version better. It's funny.
I thought it was the black relative that was saving him in that moment.
No, I'm sure that relative was a bad person because he was a sadist, as I said. But it was actually because I paused it. I actually watched this again yesterday. Just to give, and I paused it to look, and it's actually Chris Kattan's character.
Okay, I guess. I guess that makes more sense, but still, it was wild to me. Right at the end, when this character has never been in the movie and whatever, and all the ghosts are bad, but this one ghost is like, "Yeah, I'm gonna help you get out of here."
Yeah, that's what because I was like, "What? Who?" It's so poorly. The CGI is so bad that I'm like, what is going on here? Like, why does he look all weird?
And I don't know if it's CGI. I think it's still that phantom mirror glass thing as well. Maybe it is CGI, but I think it just didn't translate well because they're trying to do the ghostly thing.
Maybe, I don't know. It just looks completely bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. They should have done a better job of it. I'm actually gonna pull up a picture of it to show you how. So those who are watching on the show can actually see how bad it is to look at. Once it gets, look how like it's very very vague. I had to pause it, and if you see, it's Chris Kattan's character.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. I totally thought it was the black relative wearing like a newsboy cap or something. Like, totally.
That would have been random if that was true, but
It was random. Even if it is Chris Kattan's character, it's random. Like,
yeah, I don't understand why he came back to help him, but
yeah. So yeah, but so I kind of noticed the similarities being like everything takes place in these sort of these two hospitals, and the husband and wife wanting to kill each other. They were different just because like 99 actually had ghosts, and the 59 was just sort of a thriller where the husband and wife were trying to kill each other. And then in 99, the characters obviously had that connection with the house. The 59, there was no connection to anybody really other than greed, right? And then also it was an insane asylum versus the haunted house, right? Like,
yeah. And one thing I do wish they kind of left in the 99 version was they had some cut scenes of the whole Sarah Genzer interaction, and actually the character of Debbie Genzer, I think, was played by Debbie Mason.
yeah,
yeah.
She's a great actress.
Yeah, and did you actually see the scene, Cotton? Because there's a scene like they give her like a box for the invite, and when she opens it, it actually stabs her with like a small little knife in the hand, like a prick.
Jesus!
And she's like, "What?" That's why she walks away. He's like, "What the f is this?" And
Yeah.
like so, but Sarah actually sees the invitation under that. So I wish they would have left that in because it would give more context. But you never know. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I will say, I mean, when I'm just sort of like comparing these movies, hour and 15 minutes was fast. I honestly had to double check to make sure I wasn't getting a bad copy at an hour and 15. But the newer version was only an hour and 30. Like, it wasn't,
They're both. This is a quick watch for this week for this
Yeah.
episode for these two films.
Yeah.
But I think we can just go into Act 3 and go with our verdict here.
Okay.
Let me just...
Chow dear! Chow dear! It's chowder! Say it right!
So, before we get to our verdict, we are going to go through the three categories of what our verdict can be, which are reboot, good movie deserves to be there, could make sequels, remake, meh, movie could be good, but literally not the same as the original, don't need to be made, but it's okay to watch, and then rename, had nothing to do with the original besides title, could be good or bad.
Yeah. And then, of course, rethink your life career choices if it's really bad.
So, what would you give this film, this remake?
Well, I think I'm going with... When I first watched it, and I watched both of them, I was like, you know what? The 99 version is a reboot. Like, I felt like this is a generally fun movie, and they could totally go with it and make a sequel, which they did terribly. But then when I was going back through and looking at things and looking more at it, I think it's a rename. Like, honestly, the only thing it has in common with the 59 movie is the plot line between the husband and wife, right? Trying to kill each other. Everything else has been changed. It's not a haunted house. It's an insane asylum. There are actual ghosts where there weren't ghosts before. There is no mention of an acid vat. Like, none of that like all the characters were somehow there for money or whatever. That was all the things that were the same about the movies were actually the parts that made the 99 remake not work. And if they had just gone rename and just made this movie as an insane asylum that was doing this, I think it's a good movie. But I don't know. I thought it was an okay movie. I think it's a rename, though. I don't think it should have been called the same thing.
So I can agree with you there in terms of it being a good movie. The reason I think it was renamed, I can't go rename, is because Zemeckis, who started Dark Castle, they wanted to pay tribute to William Castle, which is why they made House on Haunted Hill as their first film to release from them. So I would go more with reboot, but there's no sequels that can be made from this. Just keep it as is. There's no reason to go back to that place. Which is why when you told me you watched the second one, I read the plot for that, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not watching that.
Well, and I will say the second one was a rename from the first one. Like that movie again had nothing to do with the original, even though they tried to tie it in. They sort of tried to tie it in by making Ali Larter's character Sarah, who never appears in the movie, leaves a notebook about how to find a Baphomet statue that's in this place.
Which what? Like it?
Yeah,
so
it again, and that's the thing. It doesn't. They tried to tie it in by creating this scenario where that character left a notebook, and that moves into the movie. But everything else, the only thing that continues the same is that they're in that psychiatric place, the asylum. Outside of that, the plot, the characters, like nothing really connects. And I guess that's sort of how I felt about the 99 and why I went with rename, is that all the things that they tried to make the same, I mean, they used a lot of the same plot points, but it was all superficial stuff compared to what the movie could have been if they would have actually just dropped those plot lines and made the movie that they wanted to make, which was, Asylum.
I think the House on Haunted Hill from '59 kind of gave those the plot of staying in a place for a sum of money. I mean, that's been parodied, throughout comedy, and even like The Simpsons did a thing on it. Like, you stay here overnight, to get a sum of money. Like,
well, and William Castle's next movie is 13 Ghosts, which is that same idea of just staying in the place that's haunted.
Yeah. And in terms of like films that I don't think need sequels, like this film, the 99 film, was fine on its own. I happened to watch the 2018 version of The Blair Witch. Have you seen that?
No, I have not.
So I thought it was a remake. So I want to see how they would remake it, because the 99 version, of course, the 90s version, of course, broke all these box office records. It gave us the found footage stuff. But when I saw it, it's a sequel, and it's basically the girl Heather, her brother's looking for her. But it's just shitty. It's really bad. It's really bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they should just left it alone. Like, they made a sequel called The Curse of Blair Witch, and I actually saw that in theater, and that wasn't good. But that actually had a different plot line to. They were just going to see, is this curse real? And it wasn't more so in the woods. It was more like, it wasn't in the area, but it was strange things were happening to these people that were trying to document, what happened to the people, the original three. This one is him actually going into the woods and looking for his sister, and it just had so many things that didn't make sense. Like, you would expect it to have more of a fleshed out backstory of why, and like there was these tree monsters, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just some movies that are like The House on Haunted Hill is not the 1990 version is not a classic in terms of like the greatest horror film ever, but it's good on its own. It could have been renamed a different film. There was no point of making sequels of it.
Well, and I think that's where I'm getting at with the when I was saying like I thought it was a reboot, like because, but it needed to be a rename. Had they launched that as its own movie and not tried to tie it as closely to the 59 version, right? That movie was good enough that if they wanted to do a sequel to it, go ahead, right? That's kind of what I'm saying. As The House on Haunted Hill, it wasn't necessarily good enough for a sequel. And obviously when they made the sequel, they tried to get completely away from what the original was. And yeah.
Yeah, even though
this
I
is a tough one for me to judge. I enjoyed it, but it's not necessarily a good movie.
Yeah, even though I shit on the Blair Witch, at least I had some understanding of what he's looking for his sister. The plot you gave me for the House on Haunted Hill sequel, Return, like what the fuck? She never even mentioned the Baphomet statue in the whole fucking movie. I don't know why it's
it's all brand new stuff. Yeah.
But I would just say, just going off because Joel Silver and the Zemeckis wanted to honor Castle, I would just go with reboot, but stay at no sequels need to be made. Just reboot it, film. It's fine. If it is fine what it is, I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed the 99 version over the 59 version, which is surprised me. Even though I like the 59 version, I just think I like 99 version just for more of the music in it. To me, really got me remembering the 90s, Sweet Dreams of Marilyn Manson.
Yep.
And it had a lot of people in there that I recognize that are either gone to bigger things or were still kind of big in that era, while in the 59 version, you had basically Vincent Price and a bunch of pretty terrible actors.
Right. Yeah. I did not like the 59 version at all. Like, outside of just the interest in seeing it and seeing what they were doing based on the other movie that I had already seen, and just, I mean, knowing as in a historical context, right? This was one of the movies that sort of started and got Alfred Hitchcock inspired to do a thriller, scary type movie. It's good in that sense, but the movie is just it's bad. The jump scares they try to do in it don't make any sense in any way. The actress that they are trying to drive over, she's terrible. Like, yeah,
She's very pretty.
Yeah, it was really rough. It was rough to watch that 59. Thank goodness it was only an hour and 14 minutes.
And the reason I keep saying she's very pretty is that's what he says about her. She was very pretty, isn't she? Yeah. So a rare instance, I would say the remake or the newer version overtakes the previous version.
So remake is definitely better on this one, in my opinion. And but again, I think it would have been even better had they dropped that husband-wife plot line. If it was literally just, so imagine she wants to have her birthday party at this haunted house. Her husband sets it up. The house changes the guest list, right? And they're all there in this situation where the house is trying to kill them. Boom. That's all you need. Everything from that point forward is good for a movie. You've got all the people. You've got you've got the house is the evil villain. The people are trying to survive, and then you can develop the characters within those. Who are the good ones and who are the bad ones, and who's going to do other things. My wife told me, like, it would have been cool to see if the house, instead of actually killing people, would have been trying to make the people insane in order to kill each other. right? So like the house couldn't physically hurt them, but if it drove them, showed them different things and maybe they would kill each other, all of that would have been a better movie.
I agree.
Yeah, they just needed to drop that sort of the husband-wife storyline. I don't think worked well in the 59 movie, and I don't think it worked well in the 99 movie. The difference being, if you drop that from the 99 movie, you still have a good movie. If you drop that line from the 59 movie, you have nothing.
Yeah. Just bad writing all around, but I mean, it's like
it's amazing that the 99 was the far superior writing.
it's like the shiniest turd, you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, I like both of them. Don't get me wrong, I like both of them. It's just
I did not. I only liked the 99 one.
yeah. But it doesn't mean that they're great. I like a lot of horrible horror movies, so that kind of goes to my shtick.
I think the 99 fits in there with that horrible horror movie.
Yeah,
It's not
so
like an amazing movie. It just happens to be better than the movie it was based on.
but that's our episode for this episode of Frame for Frame. Cotton, do you got anything to plug, my friend?
No, not really. I mean, Bleacher Bunch is a podcast out there, and I am going to record and release the latest Baseball Rabbit Hole, inning 7 for this year. And it's all about untouchable baseball records. So that's going to be coming out this week before October. And then outside of that, nothing really.
Okay, so we are having our 31 Days of Horror come back for the At the Show, which I would do 31 reviews of horror movies, 35 minutes that could be released on YouTube or at the Sadistic Penguin YouTube channel. Be sure to check them out. I'll be releasing one every day. I'm about halfway done with recording them, so I'm probably going to be spending the rest of this weekend knocking the rest of them out so I don't kill myself in the month of October. Also, they just had a Getting Drafty on here with several people discussing wrestling. The bums around there, Chicago sports bums around there, Joey P and Dougie Fresh, along with our buddy Shankster. That was actually a pretty fun episode. Check that out if you can. And the Sun Rantos show on Thursdays, right? Or no, that's a Bleacher Bunch on Thursdays.
It's Bleacher Bunch on Thursdays. Sun Ranto, a lot of times we've been doing them Saturday or Sunday mornings, but that's kind of fallen by the wayside at the moment just because we have been very busy with going to Cincinnati. The end of the year, I think we've got a Lost Boys thing coming up, and that's in like November, but people have been reaching out to different things. There's just been a lot going on. So getting that Bleacher Bunch out, Baseball Rabbit Hole, Cubs PS Plus is another one that we work on to get out. Like just doing all of that is sort of push Sunranto to the back burner for a moment. We'll be back kind of in the off season, I think, to just once the Cubs have probably failed to do anything in the end of season tournament, we'll be back to complain about it.
And you'll like to see Cotton complain. But with that, we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks for our next Frame for Frame. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.